My husband called at 8:46 on a Thursday night and told me a senior living complex had flooded. 3 floors are underwater, Ethan said. I'll be supervising the cleanup until morning. At 9:31, I watched him kiss my 25-year-old sister inside the lobby of the Bellwether Hotel. Brooke was wearing my late father's brown leather jacket. Ethan's hand disappeared beneath it as they stepped into the elevator. I did not scream. I did not confront them. I followed 40 minutes later and heard my sister ask when she could move into my office. Then my husband said, after Claire signs the leave papers at the anniversary party, the store won't be hers anymore. That was when I understood he was not only cheating on me, he was helping my family erase me from the life I had spent 20 years building. And the worst part was that they had already begun. 1. The hotel. The charge appeared on my phone while I was standing in aisle 7 of Bennett Home and Garden, counting damaged bags of potting soil. $318.42 Bellwether Hotel. The card was connected to our store's operating account. Ethan carried it because his restoration company occasionally purchased materials from us after storms, fires, or burst pipes. He was supposed to use it only for approved store expenses. I stared at the notification until the screen dimmed. Outside, rain tapped against the garden center roof. Our last customer had left 15 minutes earlier. Somewhere near the loading dock, Tasha Green was arguing with a delivery driver about 3 missing pallets of mulch. Everything around me was ordinary. The smell of damp soil, the hum of fluorescent lights, the squeak of a shopping cart one of the employees was pushing toward the entrance. But the hotel charge did not belong inside an ordinary Thursday. I called Ethan. He answered after 4 rings. Hey, Claire. His voice sounded strained. Ethan was a regional operations manager for Great Lakes Property Response, a company that cleaned up buildings after floods, fires, and major plumbing failures. Emergency calls were part of his job. There had been nights when he returned home smelling like wet drywall and industrial disinfectant. Where are you? I asked. At Meadowbrook Senior Living. What happened? Main pipe burst above the 3rd floor. Water came through 2 wings before anyone shut it off. Behind him, I heard soft music. Not loud, just a few piano notes and a woman's voice. What's that? I asked. The property manager has the television on in the lobby. He answered too quickly. I looked at the hotel charge again. Will you be home tonight? No chance. We're moving residents and setting up drying equipment. I'll probably be here until 5 or 6. I'm sorry. It's the job. He sighed with the tired patience of a man carrying responsibility no one else understood. Go home, he continued. Drink the tea I left beside the kettle. You've been running yourself into the ground. I'm still at the store. Claire. Just my name. But he said it the way he had been saying it for months, as though I were a child ignoring good advice. I'll leave soon. Promise. I promise. I love you. The words arrived smoothly. They always did. I love you too. I ended the call. For 30 seconds, I stood beside the split bags of soil trying to invent an innocent explanation. Maybe the hotel hosted Meadowbrook's displaced residents. Maybe Ethan had booked rooms for his crew. Maybe someone at his company had accidentally used our store card. Maybe the Bellwether restaurant processed the transaction for a client dinner. Marriage can make a person creative when the alternative is admitting that something is wrong. I opened the hotel website. It was downtown, 12 miles from Meadowbrook Senior Living. I called the assisted living facility. A receptionist answered. Good evening, Meadowbrook. Hi, I'm calling about the flooding. The flooding. My husband works with Great Lakes Property Response. He said there was an emergency there tonight. The woman hesitated. We haven't had a flood, ma'am. My hand tightened around the phone. Are you sure? Yes. We had a leaking sink in one apartment this morning, but maintenance handled it. Thank you. I ended the call. Tasha appeared at the end of the aisle. She was 48, 5'4", and somehow capable of making men twice her size apologize for wasting her time. She had worked at Bennett Home and Garden longer than Ethan had been my husband. Her eyes moved from my face to the phone in my hand. What happened? Nothing. You look like somebody just drove a forklift through the greenhouse. I need to leave. Then leave. Can you lock up? I've been locking up since before you knew the alarm code. Normally I would have answered. That night I picked up my purse and walked toward the exit. Claire. Tasha called. I stopped. If nothing happened, drive carefully. I nodded. That was the kindness of people who knew when not to demand the truth. The Bellwether Hotel occupied a restored brick building overlooking the Grand River. It was expensive enough to impress someone, but not so expensive that a middle-class man needed to explain the charge. I parked across the street beneath a broken street lamp. For 26 minutes, I watched the entrance. Every few minutes, I told myself to leave. Then Ethan's company SUV pulled up. He stepped out wearing dark jeans, a white shirt, and the charcoal jacket I had bought him for his birthday. There was no water on his clothes, no work boots, no company polo, no equipment bag. He handed the keys to the valet and entered the hotel. My heart began beating hard enough to make my fingertips pulse. I waited 1 minute, then I followed. The lobby smelled of cedar and expensive perfume. A gas fireplace burned beneath a stone wall. 2 businessmen sat near the bar laughing over glasses of bourbon. I moved behind a wide column near the elevators. Ethan stood with his phone in one hand. He checked the time. Then the elevator doors opened. My sister stepped out. Brooke was 13 years younger than me and had spent most of her life being described as the pretty one. She had thick dark hair, wide hazel eyes, and the kind of face that looked innocent even when she was angry. That night she wore cream boots, fitted black pants, and my father's leather jacket. The jacket had hung in the back of my office for 11 years. 3 weeks earlier, Brooke asked to borrow it for a social media photo shoot. I said yes. She walked directly to Ethan. There was no hesitation, no nervous glance around the lobby. She touched his chest and smiled. Ethan put one hand behind her neck and kissed her. Not a confused kiss, not a mistake, a familiar kiss. The kind that already had a history. I pressed my back against the column. My legs felt suddenly unreliable. Brooke whispered something into his ear. He laughed. Then his hand slid beneath my father's jacket and settled against her lower back. The elevator opened. They stepped inside. Before the doors closed, Brooke rested her head against my husband's shoulder. I lifted my phone and recorded 7 seconds. 7 seconds. That was all it took to divide my life into before and after. I entered the women's restroom and locked myself inside a stall. My hands shook so badly I dropped my purse. Lipstick, keys, receipts, and a packet of tissues spilled across the tile. I crouched to collect them and remained there. My first thought was not about Ethan. It was about Brooke at 7 years old, asleep beside me during a thunderstorm. Brooke at 15 calling me from a party because she was afraid to tell our mother she had been drinking. Brooke at 21 crying in my kitchen because her first business had failed. I had paid her rent for 6 months. I had created a staging position for her at the store. I had introduced her to contractors, realtors, and designers. I had defended her every time our mother said Brooke just needs more time. I had never asked how much time she needed before she stopped taking from me. A woman entered the restroom, washed her hands, and left. I counted 30 slow breaths. Then I stood. My mascara had smudged beneath one eye. I cleaned it with a damp paper towel, reapplied my lipstick, and returned to the lobby. The hotel directory showed a private lounge on the 8th floor. I rode the elevator alone. The hallway was quiet. At the far end, a housekeeping cart stood outside a partially open door. Room 814. A strip of warm light crossed the carpet. I should have walked away. Instead, I moved closer. Brooke's voice came through the opening. I don't want her sitting in Dad's office after the anniversary. You can move in Monday, Ethan said. What if she changes her mind? She won't. You said that about the last family meeting. That was before Diane started backing the health leave. Diane, our mother. My fingers closed around the strap of my purse. Brooke lowered her voice. Mom thinks Claire might fight the sale. Claire won't even know there's a final offer until after she signs. And if she reads the papers, she trusts me. He said it casually. That hurt more than if he had laughed. Brooke asked, what about the anniversary program? It's already at the printer. Did you take her name off? I didn't take it off. I moved it to the history page. That's where founders go when the next generation takes over. Brooke laughed softly. My skin went cold. Bennett Home & Garden was celebrating its 40th anniversary in 10 days. My father had opened it in 1986 with a rented storefront, a used pickup truck, and money borrowed from 3 relatives who reminded him of the debt every Thanksgiving. I started working there when I was 13. After he died, I took over 6 months before the bank was prepared to foreclose. Brooke had never worked more than 3 consecutive months in the store. Now she was discussing my office as if I were already gone. Then she asked, "When is the reversal appointment?" Silence. I leaned closer. Ethan's voice dropped. "November. You promised we could start trying as soon as everything's settled." "We can. You told me you wanted a family." "I do." "What if Claire finds out?" "She hasn't found out in 7 years." Something inside me stopped. Not broke. Stopped. 7 years earlier, Ethan and I had begun trying to have a child. 7 years of calendars, appointments, supplements, late periods, negative tests, and conversations conducted in whispers because saying the hope too loudly felt dangerous. 7 years of Ethan telling me that stress and age were probably working against us. 7 years of him refusing to complete certain tests because his schedule was too demanding. A reversal appointment. I did not yet know what was being reversed, but my body already understood that it was about me. Footsteps sounded behind me. The housekeeper returned. I turned and walked toward the stairs before she saw my face. I descended 8 floors on foot. In the parking garage, I sat inside my car and locked the doors. For several minutes, I watched rain move across the windshield. Then I called Ben Alvarez. Ben had handled Bennett Home and Gardens accounting since my father died. He was cautious, blunt, and one of the few people who had argued with me without making me feel belittled. He answered with a sleepy voice. "Claire, I need you to meet me at the store." "What time is it?" "Almost 11. What happened?" "I found Ethan at a hotel with Brooke." The silence lasted long enough for me to hear him sit up. "Did they see you?" "Number. Are you safe?" "Yes." "Do not confront either of them." "I wasn't planning to." "That answer does not sound true. I heard them talking about selling the store." A second silence. This one was different. Professional. Alert. "Go to the store," he said. "I'll meet you there." I looked up at the hotel. Behind one of those windows, my husband and sister believed I was home drinking the tea he had prepared for me. "I'm already on my way." 2. What my father left. Bennett Home and Gardens sat on 4 acres near the edge of Grand Rapids. The original building was a long brick structure with green awnings and uneven floors. Over the years, we added a garden center, a greenhouse, a paint department, a workshop barn, and a gravel yard for lumberstone and landscaping supplies. We sold ordinary things: screws, rakes, grass seed, paint, tomato plants, snow shovels, the kind of things people bought because something in their life needed fixing. My father, Tom Bennett, believed that if you gave someone the right tool and treated them with respect, they usually returned. He knew customers by name. He remembered which woman had a bad knee and needed someone to carry soil to her car. He kept dog treats behind the service desk. He once spent 45 minutes teaching a newly divorced father how to patch drywall because the man was too embarrassed to admit he had never held a putty knife. After Dad died, people assumed I inherited a successful business. What I inherited was a business with $86,000 in unpaid invoices, a leaking greenhouse roof, 2 failing trucks, and a bank manager who called me young lady during the meeting, where he explained why he did not believe I could save it. I was 27. I had been working at the store since I was 13, but my mother still introduced me as Tom's responsible daughter rather than the person running the company. For 3 years, I worked 6 days a week. I painted shelves at midnight. I delivered mulch when drivers called in sick. I learned payroll, inventory, digital marketing, and enough plumbing to prevent customers from destroying their kitchens. I did not turn Bennett Home and Garden into a national empire. I kept it alive. Then I helped it grow. By the time I married Ethan, the store employed 31 people and owned the property beneath it. That property had become valuable. New apartments were rising along the river. Developers were buying old commercial lots and replacing them with luxury townhouses, coffee shops, and buildings with names like the Foundry and the Mill. Over the previous 2 years, 3 companies had offered to buy our land. I refused. The store was not only a piece of real estate, it was where my father taught me to drive a forklift, where Brooke took her first steps during a Christmas open house, where employees brought their children after school, where customers still called the paint department to tell us when a room turned out beautifully. Ethan said I was sentimental. He used the word like a diagnosis. Ben's sedan was outside when I arrived. The front lights were off, but I could see him waiting near the office stairs. He wore jeans, a navy jacket, and no patience. "You drove too fast," he said. "How would you know? You made it here before me. You live farther away." "Exactly." I unlocked the door. The store was dark except for security lights near the registers. We went upstairs to my office, my father's office. The room had old wood paneling, 2 windows overlooking the greenhouse, and a desk so heavy that 4 movers had once refused to carry it downstairs. Dad's leather chair sat behind it. I had never replaced it. Brooke wanted it. The thought made me physically ill. Ben closed the door. "Tell me everything." I did. He listened without interrupting. When I mentioned the reversal appointment, his brow tightened. Reversal of what? I don't know. Did Ethan ever have surgery? Minor procedures. A hernia repair. Something with his shoulder. When? The hernia was 7 years ago. Ben looked at me. I understood what he was thinking. Number. Claire. He would have told me. You said he spent a night at a hotel with your sister while pretending to supervise a flood that didn't exist. That doesn't mean. I stopped. I was still defending him. Not because I believed him. Because some betrayals are so large that the mind approaches them in sections. Ben sat across from me. Let's not guess. We start with what we can verify. I opened our accounting system. The hotel charge appeared immediately. We searched Ethan's business card activity for the previous year. There were 6 hotel charges, 4 restaurants, a furniture boutique, a women's clothing store, 2 weekend charges in Traverse City during weekends. Ethan said he was managing storm damage. All were coded as vendor relations or emergency lodging. Why didn't the system flag these, I asked. Because each one was entered as an approved operating expense. Approved by whom? Ben clicked the detail field. D. Bennett. My mother. I stared at the initials. Diane had helped with bookkeeping since Dad was alive. She came in 2 afternoons a week, paid routine invoices, and complained that the office staff did not know how to file receipts. After Dad died, I kept her involved because I believed the store gave her purpose. Ethan had convinced me to expand her approval limit 6 months earlier. She's approving his hotel rooms, I said. Or she is approving categories without looking. Do you believe that? Ben did not answer. He kept searching. Payments had been made to a company called B. Lane Interiors. Brooke's middle name was Lane. Her struggling home staging business used the name Brooke Lane Living on social media, but the official company had always been different. The first invoice was for $3,800, then $6,200, then $4,500, 17 payments over 14 months. What work did she perform, I asked. The invoices listed visual merchandising, customer experience consulting, brand development, and showroom planning. Brooke had rearranged 3 displays and filmed several videos in the garden center. Total cost $92,400. My throat tightened. Ben found another vendor. Bennett Family Consulting, registered to Diane. Payments totaled $54,000. Your mother has been paying herself in addition to her normal bookkeeping wages, Ben said. For what? Succession planning. The room became very quiet. I read the phrase twice. Succession. Ben leaned back. There may be more. How much more? I don't know yet. I looked at Dad's desk. At the scratches near the right corner where he used to tap his wedding ring while thinking. At the old photograph of Brooke and me beneath the store's first sign. I was 15 in the picture. Brooke was 2. I held her in my arms. I paid her rent, I said. Ben waited. When Brooke's staging business failed, the first time I covered her rent for 6 months. I paid for the website she uses now. I gave her the back room for photo shoots. I introduced her to every realtor I knew. I know. My mother said I should do it because Brooke never had the same opportunities. Ben closed his laptop. Claire, go home tonight. I can't. You can't stay here until morning staring at invoices. I can't go home and lie beside him. You don't have to. Stay with Tasha. Stay with me. Get a hotel room somewhere else. He tracks my location. Ben's expression changed. We share locations. Turn it off. He'll know. Good. Number. I stood and walked toward the window. Rain streaked the glass over the greenhouse. If they think I know, they will move faster. They might delete records, pressure employees, or sign something using my name. Then we protect the accounts tonight. And what do I tell Ethan? The truth. Which truth? That I followed him. That I listened outside the room. That I know my sister is waiting to move into this office. Ben rose. The truth that you are leaving a man who betrayed you. This is bigger than my marriage. I understand. No, you understand the numbers. I walked into that hotel as the owner of this company. By the time I reached the 8th floor, I found out my husband's sister and mother had already written the next chapter without me. That is exactly why you should not go home. I turned. If I disappear tonight, Ethan tells everyone I had some kind of breakdown. He already talks about how tired I am. My mother supports him. Brooke cries. By morning, I become the unstable woman who ran away. People who know you won't believe that. People believe what families repeat. Ben's jaw tightened. You are not staying in that house without a plan. I have a plan. You have been betrayed for approximately 2 hours. Then it's a new plan. What is it? I looked at the accounting screen. I go home. I act like I believe him. You secure every company account I legally control without alerting Diane or Ethan. Tomorrow we find out what succession planning means. And after that, I decide who still has a place in my life. Ben studied me. He did not look convinced. Text me when you get home. I will. Keep your phone on. I will. Do not drink the tea. I looked at him. He nodded toward my phone. Ethan told you to drink it twice. He always makes tea when he works late. Exactly. 3. The tea beside the kettle. The house was dark when I arrived. Ethan's shoes were not by the door. His coffee mug from that morning sat in the sink. Beside the stove, a ceramic cup waited beneath a small plate. Chamomile tea. He had left a yellow note beside it. Drink me. No working until midnight. 2 years earlier, I would have photographed the note and sent it to Brooke with a heart emoji. She would have replied, "Find me a man like him." I poured the tea into a glass jar and placed it behind a bag of frozen vegetables in the freezer. Then I washed the cup, filled it with water, and left a small amount in the bottom. At 2:38 in the morning, Ethan came home. I was in bed with the lights off. He entered quietly, showered, and stood beside me. I kept my breathing slow. He lifted the cup from the nightstand. I heard the faint movement of liquid. Then he set it down. The mattress shifted as he climbed into bed. His hand rested against my hip. My body wanted to move away. I remained still. "Good girl," he whispered. I do not know whether he meant for me to hear. The next morning he performed exhaustion. He moved slowly through the kitchen, rubbed the back of his neck, and described wet carpet, angry residents, and equipment failures. How bad was it, I asked. Worse than we expected. Did everyone get relocated? Eventually. He opened the refrigerator. You drank the tea, most of it. His shoulders loosened. Did you sleep? Like a rock. Good. He kissed my forehead. The gesture had always made me feel cared for. That morning, it felt like he was checking his work. I'm going to the store early, I said. You should take the morning off. I have the anniversary meeting. Brooke can handle that. I looked at him. Why would Brooke handle a Bennett Home and Garden anniversary meeting? She's been helping with the creative side. She has been paid $92,000 for the creative side. The words nearly escaped. I caught them. Ethan poured coffee. I'm only saying you don't have to control everything. I don't. He laughed softly. Claire. There it was again. My name used as a warning. I'll see you tonight, I said. Don't forget dinner at your mother's. I thought that was Sunday. It's tonight. I searched my memory. No dinner appeared. Did she text? It's on the family calendar. I opened my phone. A dinner had been added at 6:30. The entry showed it was created 3 weeks earlier. I did not remember seeing it. Ethan watched my face. You forgot. I must have. You've been doing that a lot. A line of concern appeared between his eyebrows. Perfectly placed. I'm worried about you. I slipped the phone into my purse. I'm fine. People who are fine don't keep insisting they're fine. He kissed my cheek and left. For several seconds I stood alone in the kitchen. Then I opened the shared calendar details. The dinner entry had been edited the previous night at 11:54. While Ethan was inside the hotel, the original creation date remained old because the event had been duplicated from a previous family dinner. He had not caught me forgetting. He had manufactured something for me to forget. That morning I arrived at Bennett Home and Garden before the doors opened. A stack of anniversary invitations sat on the service counter. The front showed a watercolor illustration of the original store. Across the top, in dark green letters, were the words, 40 years of Bennett Home and Garden. Beneath that, celebrating our past, welcoming a new generation. I opened one. The first page contained a photograph of Dad standing beside the original pickup truck. The second showed Brooke arranging pillows in the showroom. The third showed Ethan shaking hands with a developer during a charity event. My photograph appeared on the last page beside a paragraph titled, "The Bennett Legacy." It described me as Tom Bennett's eldest daughter, who helped guide the store through years of transition. Helped guide. As if I had been an assistant in my own life. The event host section read, Ethan Cole, Strategic Growth Advisor. Brooke Bennett, Creative Director. Diane Bennett, Family Steward. My name was not listed. Tasha found me holding the invitation. I told them not to print those. I looked up. You saw this yesterday. Who approved it? Brooke said you did. And you believed her. Number. Tasha reached beneath the counter and handed me an earlier proof. My name appeared at the top. Claire Bennett Cole, owner and president. A red line had been drawn through it. Beside the change were Ethan's initials. Why didn't you call me? I did. She opened her phone. 3 calls had been placed to me the previous afternoon. None appeared in my history. What number did you use? The one I've used for 10 years. I checked my blocked contacts. Tasha's number was there. I had not blocked her. Ethan knew my phone password. I thought you were angry with me, Tasha said. Brooke told the office you didn't want to be disturbed because you were having another bad day. Another. Tasha's expression became guarded. What has she been telling people? Claire. What? That you're burned out. That Ethan has been covering for you. That you lose track of meetings and blame other people. My cheeks burned. Do you believe her? I believe you look like you haven't slept in a year. That isn't an answer. Tasha folded her arms. No. I don't believe Brooke should be sitting in meetings she doesn't understand. I don't believe Ethan should have access to our anniversary program. And I don't believe your mother should be approving payments without showing you. She stepped closer. But I also don't believe you're telling me everything. I looked around. Employees were entering through the staff door. The registers would open in 10 minutes. I can't tell you yet. Then don't ask me to pretend I'm not watching. Tasha took the invitations from my hands. What do you want me to do with these? Put them away. All of them. Yes. Brooke ordered 800. She can build a house with them. For the first time since the hotel, I almost smiled. Tasha did not. Claire, whatever this is, it's already inside the store. I looked at the invitation again. My name reduced to a paragraph in the past tense. I know. 4. The family group chat. At noon, a seasonal employee named Mia came into my office. She was 19, nervous, and holding her phone with both hands. Mrs. Cole, Claire is fine. She closed the door behind her. I think I'm not supposed to show you this. That usually means someone very much needs to show me. She placed her phone on the desk. A group chat filled the screen. Bennett Anniversary Team. Participants: Ethan, Brooke, Diane. 3 employees. A printing company. A local real estate agent. I was not included. The conversation stretched back 2 months. Brooke had posted photographs of redesigned showroom displays. Ethan had shared a draft floor plan converting half the hardware section into a furniture and home design studio. My mother had written, once Claire accepts that she needs rest, she'll see this is better for everyone. Another message from Ethan. Keep major changes quiet until the announcement. She becomes defensive when she feels left out. Brooke. She always feels left out when she isn't in charge. My mother reacted with a laughing emoji. I scrolled. A photo showed Brooke sitting in my father's office chair with her feet on the desk. She wore his jacket. The caption read, trying out the future view. Ethan responded, looks right to me. My mother added, your father would love seeing new life in that room. I stopped breathing. Dad had loved Brooke. Of course he had, but he never saw her finish a work week. He never saw me carry the store through his death. My mother had turned his memory into approval he could no longer confirm or deny. Mia stood beside the desk. I'm sorry. Why are you in this chat? Brooke asked me to schedule social posts. Did she tell you I approved the changes? Yes. Do the other employees believe her? Some do. And you? Mia looked down. My grandmother shops here because you drove a snowblower to her house during the blizzard. I remembered. Her grandmother lived alone and could not clear the driveway for a medical transport. Tasha and I delivered the machine and did the first pass ourselves. Mia continued. Brooke told us you didn't want to be bothered with small details anymore. That didn't sound like you. I took photographs of the chat. Thank you. Am I going to be fired? Number. Brooke said anyone who shared anniversary information without permission would lose their job. Brooke does not have the authority to fire anyone. Mia's eyes widened. She said she would after Saturday. Saturday. 10 days before the anniversary had become 9. They were already preparing employees for a transfer. After Mia left, I searched our social media accounts. The store's password no longer worked. I opened Brooke's public profile. She had posted a video from our greenhouse. Soft music played while she walked between rows of plants, touching leaves and smiling at the camera. The caption read, "Building something beautiful from the roots my family gave me." "Big announcement soon," Ethan had commented with a green heart. My mother wrote, "Your dad would be proud." Hundreds of strangers congratulated her. One comment read, "Are you taking over the family business?" Brooke replied, "Some stories take time to bloom." I closed the app. That afternoon, Ben came in with preliminary numbers. "The questionable payments total $146,400, he said. So far, so far. Can we stop them?" "Yes, but if we change access now, Diane and Ethan will know. I want copies of everything first." "You have copies. I want to know about the property offer." Ben opened another file. "A development company called Westmere Communities has been contacting Ethan." "Why Ethan?" "He presented himself as part of the ownership group." "He is not an owner." "I know. How much did they offer?" $2.8 million for the store garden center and back acreage. The number was larger than our annual revenue. Not enough to make anyone rich forever. Enough to tempt people who did not care what disappeared. Did my mother see this? She opened the email attachment from her store account. "And Brooke." Ethan forwarded it to her. I walked to the window. Below, customers moved through the garden center, choosing fall mums. Two children chased each other near the pumpkins. "They want to sell everything," I said. "It looks that way." "What happens to the employees?" "The proposed purchase closes the store after a 90-day transition." "They know." "Not according to the messages I've seen." 31 employees. Some had been with us since Dad was alive. Ethan and my family planned to announce a new generation while quietly preparing to eliminate every job in the room. Ben watched me. "This is why I wanted you out of the house." "No, this is why I have to stay close enough to hear what comes next." "You are treating this like a business problem." "It is a business problem. It is also your husband and sister." "I'm aware." "Are you?" I turned. "What does that mean?" "It means you have spent 13 hours analyzing accounts without once saying how you feel. How I feel won't stop the sale." "No, but ignoring it may make you do something reckless." I followed my husband to a hotel and left without confronting him. That was controlled. I listened while my sister asked when she could take my office. "Claire, I am not falling apart for their convenience." Ben closed the folder. "No one asked you to." "Everyone asks me to." My mother asks me to absorb things because Brooke is sensitive. Ethan asks me to rest whenever I question him. Brooke asks me to share everything she wants. They all call it love when what they mean is silence. Ben's expression softened. I hated it. Not because he was wrong. Because sympathy felt like another thing I might not survive. "Find the transition papers," I said. "I'm looking." "And the original anniversary file." "Claire." "What?" "You need sleep." I laughed once. The sound was sharp and empty. "My husband has been making sure I sleep." 5. The dinner where I made my first mistake. Friday dinner at my mother's house began at 6:30. Diane lived in a ranch-style home 20 minutes from the store. Dad had renovated the kitchen before he died, and she had preserved it as if changing the cabinets would be a betrayal. She opened the door wearing a gray cardigan and the pearl earrings Dad gave her for their 25th anniversary. "You're late." "It's 6:32. "We've been waiting." Ethan's SUV was in the driveway. Brooke's car stood beside it. They had arrived together or separately. I did not know which possibility hurt more. Inside, Brooke was carrying a bowl of salad to the dining table. She wore my father's leather jacket again. "You're wearing that indoors?" I asked. Her hand moved toward the collar. "It was cold. That jacket usually stayed in my office. You said I could borrow it." "For a photo shoot." I didn't realize there was an expiration date. My mother entered with a casserole. "Claire, don't start." 3 words. The pattern of my childhood. Brooke took. I objected. My mother managed me. Ethan kissed my cheek. "You look tired." "I worked today." "That's what he means," Diane said. "You never know when to stop." We sat. My mother served Ethan first. Then Brooke. Then me. It was such a small thing that no one outside our family would have noticed. I had noticed it my entire life. During dinner, they discussed the anniversary as though I were a guest. Brooke described new floral displays. Ethan mentioned a speech. My mother complained that the original program design looked dated. I cut my chicken and waited. We're putting a small stage near the greenhouse entrance, Brooke said. It'll photograph better. We already planned the stage near the workshop barn, I said. The lighting is bad there. It's an evening event. Exactly. That doesn't make sense, Brooke sighed. Not every decision has to become a debate. Not every idea becomes a decision because you posted it online. Ethan set down his fork. Claire, the warning. My mother leaned toward me. Brooke has worked very hard. She has been paid almost $100,000. Silence dropped across the table. Ethan's eyes sharpened. Brooke stopped moving. My mother's face became blank. I had promised myself not to reveal what I knew. One sentence destroyed that promise. What are you talking about? Brooke asked. B Lane Interiors. Her cheeks lost color. Diane looked at Ethan. The glance lasted less than a second. It was enough. Ethan recovered first. Those payments were approved consulting expenses. Approved by Mom, because you delegated vendor approvals, not family gifts. Brooke's eyes filled. I did work for the store. You made videos. I redesigned the showroom. You moved 3 couches and removed a display that generated 12% of our paint sales. Do you hear yourself? My mother asked. You reduce everything Brooke does. Because all of you inflate it. Ethan's voice remained calm. Claire, you are upset. You have no idea how upset I am. Then maybe this isn't the right time. When is the right time to ask why my husband is using my company to pay my sister? Brooke stood. I knew you'd do this. Do what? Make me feel ashamed for needing help. I paid your rent. No one asked you to. You cried in my kitchen and said you would be homeless. You offered because you like people owing you. The sentence struck harder than I expected. My mother looked at her plate. Ethan watched me carefully. I felt the room shifting. They wanted me emotional. I knew it. But knowledge did not stop the anger. I saw you at the bellwether, I said. Brooke froze. Ethan did not. That told me he had prepared for the possibility. My mother whispered, Claire, I saw both of you. Brooke's hand went to the back of the chair. Ethan leaned forward. You followed me. You lied about a flood. Because I knew you would misunderstand. I laughed. I misunderstood your tongue in my sister's mouth. Please lower your voice, Diane said. I stared at her. You knew. Number. You didn't even ask what I saw. Her lips pressed together. Brooke began crying. I'm sorry. Are you? Yes. How long? She looked at Ethan. I slammed my hand against the table. Do not look at him. Look at me. The plates jumped. My mother gasped. Ethan slowly placed his napkin beside his plate. Claire, you are out of control. I am sitting at a table with my husband, his girlfriend, and the mother who helped pay for their hotel rooms. I did not pay for hotel rooms, Diane said. You approved them. I approved expense categories. Without reading them, I trusted Ethan. The words nearly made me smile. Of course you did. Brooke wiped her cheeks. It started 8 months ago. 8 months. Thanksgiving. Christmas. My birthday. The weekend Brooke stayed in our guest room because her apartment furnace broke. You slept in my house. I didn't plan it. Did you trip into my marriage? Nora. My name is Claire. The slip belonged to another story, another person, another wound. Yet in that moment I felt as though even my own name had become unstable. Ethan stood. This is exactly why we have been worried. We, your family. You mean the 3 people trying to sell my store? My mother's face changed. Brooke stopped crying. Ethan's calm finally cracked. You went through private files. They are my company's files. You are proving my point. What point? That you are paranoid, exhausted, and incapable of separating personal emotion from business decisions. I stood too. You are sleeping with my sister. And you are screaming at a dinner table. He lifted his phone from beside his plate. The camera was recording. My stomach dropped. He had placed it upright against the salt shaker. The screen showed me. My raised voice. My hand striking the table. My accusation about the store. A perfect clip with no hotel lobby, no stolen payments, and no context. I stepped toward him. He picked up the phone. Donnie said, What are you doing? Documenting what has been happening. What has been happening? You have been forgetting appointments, accusing employees, and becoming increasingly aggressive. You changed my calendar. Diane stood. Claire, stop. Did you know he changed it? I don't know what you're talking about. Brooke moved beside Ethan. The sight of them standing together erased the last of my restraint. I picked up my water and threw it across Ethan's shirt. My mother screamed. Brooke covered her mouth. Ethan did not move. Water ran from his collar. His eyes remained fixed on mine. Not shocked. Satisfied. I had given him something better than he planned. He turned off the recording. Thank you, he said quietly. I grabbed my coat and left. Outside, cold air hit my wet face. I did not remember beginning to cry. I only knew I was crying when I reached my car and could not see the door handle. My phone began vibrating. Ben. Then Tasha. Then Ben again. I answered. What happened, he asked. How do you know something happened? Ethan emailed the management staff. My chest tightened. What did he send? A video. He had done it before I left the driveway. What did he say? That you suffered a serious emotional episode in front of your family and need immediate rest. I closed my eyes. He planned it. Where are you? Outside my mother's. Stay there. Number. Claire. I'm going home. Absolutely not. I need the files in the garage. What files? Dad's property records. Ethan moved them last spring. Go to the store. I'll retrieve the files tomorrow. He'll remove them. You just exposed what you know. He already knows you are looking. I looked through my mother's dining room window. Brooke stood beside Ethan, pressing a towel against his shirt. My mother touched his arm. No one looked outside for me. I made it worse, I said. Ben's voice softened. Yes. The honesty steadied me more than reassurance would have. What do I do now? Stop trying to win tonight. I breathed through my mouth. You go somewhere safe. You sleep. Tomorrow you face what the video changed. I can't sleep. You don't have to sleep. You only have to stop giving them new material. I looked at the 3 figures inside the house. I'm not going back in. Good. I drove to Tasha's. 6. The morning they locked me out. Tasha lived in a small blue house with wind chimes, 2 rescue dogs, and a husband who worked nights at a packaging plant. She opened the door before I knocked. You look terrible. Thank you. Come in. She led me to the kitchen. A mug waited on the table. I stopped. Tasha noticed. It's coffee. I opened a new container in front of Ben, and he watched me make it like I was preparing medicine for the president. Ben sat near the window with his laptop. You called him? He called me. I called everyone except the people stealing your business, Ben said. Tasha pointed toward a chair. Sit. I told them about the dinner. Not every word. Enough! When I described the recording, Tasha cursed. Ben did not. His silence was worse. How many people received it, I asked. Department managers and your office staff, Tasha said. Maybe more by now. What are they saying? Some are worried. Some are angry that Ethan shared it. A few already believed you were having problems. Names. Number. Tasha. You are not firing frightened employees because your husband fed them a story for months. I need to know who I can trust. You need to understand that trust goes both ways. Her words cut. I looked at her. Tasha sat across from me. For 6 months, Ethan has attended meetings you skipped. I didn't skip them. From our perspective, you did. Calendar changes, unanswered calls, decisions delayed. You kept saying you were tired. He kept explaining for you. I didn't ask him to. We didn't know that. She pushed the coffee toward me. You are not the only person who was manipulated. I wrapped my hands around the mug but did not drink. Ben turned his laptop. The video showed me standing at my mother's dining table. My face was red. My voice was loud. The clip began after I mentioned the hotel. Ethan had cut that part. It showed me accusing my family of stealing, striking the table, and throwing water. His message read, I am sharing this reluctantly because Claire's condition has begun affecting the safety and stability of the business. Our family is arranging appropriate care. Until further notice, please direct major decisions to me or Diane. Appropriate care. The phrase made me sound dangerous. What happens if I go to the store, I asked. Tasha looked at Ben. What? Tell me. Ethan changed the alarm code, she said. For a moment, I thought I had misheard. He cannot change the code. He used the emergency administrator account, which should require my approval. The notification went to your old email address. The address Ethan claimed he had closed after it was hacked. He planned this, I said. Yes, Ben replied. I stood. Tasha blocked the kitchen doorway. Move. Number. I own the building. I know. He cannot lock me out. I know. Then move. You show up angry, he records you pounding on the door, and by lunch, every employee sees another video. I'm supposed to hide. You are supposed to think. I have been thinking while my name disappeared from invitations, my money paid for hotel rooms, and my sister sat in my father's chair. And last night you stopped thinking for 5 minutes. Look what he did with it. I stared at her. Tasha's eyes did not soften. You want people to trust you. Give them something stronger than rage. I turned away. One of her dogs placed its head against my knee. I bent and rested my hand between its ears. I let him do this, I whispered. No, Ben said. I gave him passwords. I let my mother approve expenses. I let Brooke tell me she needed one more chance. I let Ethan explain my own exhaustion to me. You trusted people who had spent years teaching you that trust was safe, Ben said. That is not the same as permission. It feels the same. It won't forever. I finally drank the coffee. It was bitter and too hot. Mine to choose. Ben spent the morning restoring my access through the company's primary ownership account. At 10:30, we learned Ethan had called an emergency staff meeting. Brooke was sitting in my office. Mia sent Tasha a photograph. My sister sat behind Dad's desk wearing his leather jacket. A whiteboard behind her displayed 3 words: new energy, new direction. I stared at the image. Tasha took the phone from my hand. What do you want to do? I remembered what she had said. Give them something stronger than rage. Call every employee, I said. And say what? I'm holding a meeting at the workshop barn at noon. Ethan will say you're not allowed on the property. The barn is across the service road. He hasn't changed that lock. What are you going to tell them? The truth. All of it. Enough. Ben frowned. You need to be careful about accusations. I'm not holding court. What are you doing? I looked at the photograph again. I'm going to stop letting my husband speak for me. 7. The meeting in the workshop barn. 24 employees came. 7 did not. I noticed every empty chair. The workshop barn smelled of cut wood dust and the coffee Tasha brought in large cardboard boxes. Employees sat at folding tables normally used for weekend classes. Some avoided my eyes. Some looked protective. One looked angry. Ethan stood outside near the parking lot with Brooke. They were not invited. They did not leave. I walked to the front without notes. My husband sent you a video last night. No one moved. The video is real. I lost my temper at a family dinner. I shouted. I struck the table. I threw a glass of water at him. A few people glanced at each other. I am not proud of it. Ethan shifted outside the open barn door. But the video began after I confronted Ethan about an affair with my sister. The room changed. Brooke's face went white. Murmurs spread across the tables. I continued before anyone could interrupt. I learned about the affair after a hotel charge appeared on Bennett Home and Gardens card. I have also discovered more than $100,000 in payments made to businesses connected to my sister and mother. Ethan entered the barn. This is not appropriate. I looked at him. You emailed my private breakdown to employees because your behavior affects them. So does using their workplace to finance a hotel room. He stopped. Tasha moved toward the door. You weren't invited, she said. I am Claire's husband. That qualification appears to be under review. Several employees looked down to hide smiles. Ethan addressed the room. Claire is dealing with intense stress. I'm asking everyone not to participate in a personal conflict. I faced the employees. He has been telling you I forget meetings. One department manager nodded carefully. I learned this morning that several calendar entries were changed after I last reviewed them. Tasha's phone number was blocked on my device without my knowledge. My social media access was removed. My alarm code was changed. Claire, Ethan warned, I am not asking you to choose between a husband and wife. I am asking you to watch what happens next and decide who is telling you the truth. A man named Roger, who managed the lumberyard, raised his hand. Are we being sold? The question struck the room. I looked at Ben, then back at Roger. A developer has made an offer for this property. Someone cursed. Did you accept it? Roger asked. Number. Did anyone? My husband has been discussing it without my authority. Ethan stepped forward. I was exploring options because the store is struggling. It is not struggling. It will if you continue refusing to modernize. Roger stood. My crew has 10 people. Does the offer keep the yard? Ethan said nothing. I answered. No. The proposal closes the store after 90 days. Anger moved through the room. One of the 7 missing employees arrived late and stood near the door. Ethan raised both hands. No decision has been made. Because I have not signed anything I said. His eyes met mine. For the first time, he understood that I knew about the papers. I turned back to the employees. I am not asking anyone to trust me because my last name is on the building. I am asking for time to review what happened and protect your jobs. Mia spoke from the second row. Brooke told us she would be in charge after the anniversary. Brooke entered the barn. I said I would be helping. You said Mrs. Cole was stepping away indefinitely, Mia replied. Brooke looked at Ethan. Another employee, James, raised his voice. Did Claire approve the new program? No, I said. Brooke said we believe she did. You drew a line through my name. I was told the owner line was changing. By whom? She did not answer. Tasha folded her arms. The silence exposed more than any speech. I addressed the room one last time. I made a mistake last night. I let people who wanted to call me unstable control the moment. I will not repeat it. I looked directly at Ethan. I am still the owner of Bennett Home and Garden. No sale management transfer or staff change will happen without my approval. You need rest, he said. I need a new husband. A few people inhaled sharply. Ethan's face tightened. I continued. The anniversary event will go forward. It will celebrate 40 years of this store and the people who actually built it. What about the announcement? Brooke asked. There will be one. Her eyes narrowed. She did not know whether to be frightened. That was the first advantage I had gained since the hotel. 8. The file in the garage. I did not return home until Ethan left for work Monday morning. Tasha waited in the driveway. I can search a garage alone, I said. You also said you could handle dinner alone. That is cruel. It is accurate. We entered through the side door. The house felt unfamiliar. Not because anything had changed, because I had. Every framed photograph contained a second meaning. Every gift invited suspicion. The blue bowl Brooke made in high school sat beside the entry table. Ethan kept his keys inside it. Our wedding portrait hung above the fireplace. A family photograph from last Christmas showed Ethan standing between Brooke and me. His arm was around both of us. I remembered my mother saying, "Look at my 3 beautiful children." At the time, I laughed. Now I understood that I had been the only person in the picture who did not know where everyone belonged. The old business records were stored in metal cabinets at the back of the garage. I opened the first drawer. Property tax receipts, insurance policies, Dad's original loan documents. The second drawer contained household files, Ethan's vehicle records, medical bills, warranty paperwork. A folder labeled 2019 procedure sat near the back. 7 years earlier, the year we began trying for a baby, I removed it. The first page contained instructions from a clinic in Lansing. Post-vasectomy care. Ethan Cole. Procedure date April 17th. I lowered myself onto an overturned bucket. Tasha stood beside me. What is it? I handed her the page. She read it. Her mouth opened. He told me he had a hernia repaired, I said. My voice sounded distant. He came home with an ice pack. I made soup. I changed his bandage. Tasha sat on the concrete floor beside me. We started trying that summer. The folder contained follow-up instructions and a confirmation that the procedure had been successful. A handwritten note appeared at the bottom of one page. Do not bill shared insurance, self-pay. I pressed my thumb against the ink. Ethan's handwriting. For 7 years he had watched me count days. He watched me cry after negative tests. He watched me take supplements that made me nauseous. He watched me schedule appointments around his emergencies. He told doctors that his work made it difficult to complete testing. He told me we could keep trying naturally. On my 38th birthday, I cried in the bathroom because I believed time had defeated me. Ethan sat on the floor outside the door and said, "Maybe our life is meant to be just us." He already knew. My grief had not surprised him. It had inconvenienced him. Tasha put one hand over mine. I pulled away, stood, and knocked the bucket across the garage. It struck the wall. A metal handle clattered against concrete. "I'm sorry," I said. "Stop apologizing." "I can't breathe." "Yes, you can." "I can't." "Look at me." I did. "Your chest is moving. Stay here." I pressed both hands against my ribs. The garage door blurred. He took 7 years. I know. I thought my body failed. I know. I apologized to him. Tasha's face twisted with anger. "Then take the apology back." A sound left me. Half laugh, half sob. I sank to the floor. This time I did not try to remain composed. I cried beside a cabinet full of warranties and receipts while Tasha sat on cold concrete with me. When the first wave passed, I opened the rest of the folder. Beneath the old procedure records was a recent appointment card. Reversal consultation, November 12th. The appointment had been scheduled 6 weeks earlier. Brooke's handwriting appeared on the back. "Don't forget. This is our real beginning." I stared at the words. Tasha cursed. My tears stopped. Not because the pain disappeared, because anger dried them. I photographed every page. Then I found another envelope. The return address belonged to the same clinic. Inside was a cancellation notice dated the previous Monday. Ethan had canceled the reversal consultation. Brooke did not know. He had promised her a future he had already withdrawn. That did not make her innocent. It made the pattern clearer. Ethan did not love Brooke more. He only found her easier to use. We took the files and left. Before closing the garage cabinet, I noticed a prescription bottle behind a box of screws. Ethan's name, a strong sleep medication. The bottle had been filled 3 months earlier. Only 6 pills remained from a prescription of 60. Ethan never complained of insomnia. I placed the bottle in my purse. Tasha watched me. What are you thinking? The mornings after he makes tea, I feel slow. How slow? I lose words, I miss alarms, I forget conversations. And when he doesn't make it, I thought. On nights Ethan stayed away, I often worked late but woke clearer. He's been giving me this. We don't know that. Number. I looked at the bottle, but this time we're going to find out before I accuse him. 9. What was really happening to my memory? Dr. Lila Morgan had been my primary care physician for 9 years. She was direct, practical, and unimpressed by husbands who answered medical questions for their wives. When I brought her the frozen tea and Ethan's prescription bottle, she did not make dramatic promises. She asked questions. How often did Ethan prepare the tea? When did the morning fog begin? Did I ever experience it after nights away from home? Had I changed medications? Was I drinking alcohol with the tea? Then she sent the sample for testing. The result came back the next afternoon. The tea contained Ethan's prescription sleep medication. The amount was not likely to kill me. It was enough to cause deep sleep confusion, slowed reaction, and gaps in short-term memory. Could it build up? I asked. If taken repeatedly, especially without knowing yes, the effects can feel worse over time. Would I appear forgetful? Yes. Emotional? Yes. Unreliable? Dr. Morgan's expression changed. To someone who wanted to describe you that way. I looked at the floor. He said I was burning out. How long have you believed him? Almost a year. Have you been drinking the tea for that long? Not every night, more often during the past 6 months. Claire, this is not a misunderstanding. I know. You need to report it. I will. Today, I have an anniversary event in 5 days. She stared at me. You are talking about a party as though that is the urgent issue. It is where he plans to take my company. He has already been putting drugs in your body. I understand. No. You are organizing danger into categories because business problems feel manageable. Her words reminded me of Ben. I hated when people agreed about me. Dr. Morgan leaned forward. You can protect the store from somewhere else. You cannot protect anything if he decides the current dose is no longer enough. The fear arrived quietly. Until then, I had viewed the tea as part of Ethan's story about my memory. A tool, not a threat. What should I do? Do not return to the house alone. Do not consume anything he prepares. Give the sample and prescription information to the police. I don't want the anniversary shut down. Then tell them that. But stop behaving as though proving you are strong requires staying close to someone who is harming you. That evening I gave a statement. The process was less dramatic than television. A small room, a tired detective, a paper cup of water I did not drink. Questions repeated in different ways. The detective Rachel Owens did not promise an immediate arrest. The medication belonged to Ethan. The tested tea supported my claim. Tasha had seen the prescription bottle, but proving when and how Ethan added the medication would require more. We can speak to him, Detective Owens said. Number, you don't want us to? Not yet. Ben shifted beside me. Claire, if he knows he cancels the anniversary plan, deletes messages, and claims I contaminated the tea. That is possible, the detective said. It is likely. She studied me. What do you want? I want him stopped before he can hand me another cup. That means you do not stay with him. I'm staying at Tasha's. Good. I want the anniversary to continue. I am not using you as bait. I'm not asking you to. You are asking me to wait while you attend an event where he expects you to sign something after drinking a beverage he provides. When she said it plainly, the plan sounded less brave, more foolish. I looked at Ben. He did not hide his agreement. What can we do safely? I asked. Detective Owens folded her hands. You attend only if the store has security. You do not meet him alone, and we have officers nearby. If he prepares food or drink specifically for you, no one consumes it. You call me the moment he threatens or touches you. And the business records, your accountant can address those separately. I care about the drugging. No complicated strategy. No dramatic operation. Just boundaries. Evidence. People close enough to intervene. I agreed. For the first time in days, Ben exhaled normally. Outside the station, he stopped beside my car. You should cancel the event. Number. You heard her. I heard her say it can happen safely. She said it can happen less dangerously. There's a difference. Not enough of one. I turned toward him. If Ethan announces my leave without me there, that becomes the image everyone remembers. Brooke takes the stage. My mother tells the room I'm too sick to attend. Employees wonder if the video was true. Your life is not a public relations problem. My life includes 31 people whose jobs are tied to what happens in that building. Then issue a statement. A statement cannot look my employees in the eye. Ben ran one hand through his hair. You do this every time. Do what? Make yourself responsible for everyone until your own safety becomes an administrative detail. That is not fair. It is exactly fair. You think I should run? I think leaving a dangerous room is not the same as surrendering it. I looked toward the parking lot. I'm going. I know. Then why are we arguing? Because I need you to understand that I disagree. It surprised me. Ethan disguised control as agreement. My mother punished disagreement. Brooke turned it into injury. Ben disagreed and remained beside me. Fine, I said. Fine. Are you still helping? Unfortunately. Thank you. I'm still angry. You can be both. He nodded. So can you. 10. My mother called it fairness. I asked Diane to meet me at a diner near the highway. Public. Neutral. No family photographs. No dining table where she could ask me to lower my voice. She arrived 12 minutes late and complained about the parking. I don't understand why we couldn't meet at home. Because this conversation is not happening in your house. She removed her coat. You sound like a lawyer. I sound like someone who wants to finish a sentence. Her lips tightened. A waitress poured coffee. My mother added cream and stirred slowly. Ethan says you're refusing help. Ethan is sleeping with Brooke. She looked toward the window. Brooke feels terrible. Does she? Yes. She wore Dad's jacket to the hotel. Diane's spoon stopped. She borrowed that from you. To sleep with my husband. Must you say it like that? How would you prefer I say it? Quietly. The answer summarized my entire childhood. I placed copies of the questionable payments on the table. My mother glanced at them. You went through my company. My company paid yours $54,000. I provided services. What services? Family planning. You mean planning to remove me? Succession planning. I am 39. You are exhausted. Because Ethan has been putting medication in my tea. For the first time, she looked directly at me. Shock crossed her face. Real shock. Then suspicion. Did a doctor tell you that? Yes. Ethan would never. He did. You must be mistaken. Why is it easier for you to believe I imagined being drugged than to believe he harmed me? That is not what I said. It is what you always say. Her cheeks reddened. I have spent my life walking between you and Brooke trying to make things fair. No. You spent my life asking me to pay for whatever Brooke wanted. That is cruel. I paid her tuition after she dropped out. I covered her rent. I funded her website. I gave her work. I let her use the store. And reminded her every time. I never mentioned the money until I found out she was sleeping with my husband. She always felt indebted to you. Because she was. My mother pushed back slightly. You see, this is why she resents you. Then she should have stopped taking. You had more. I worked more. You had Dad. The words came out hard. Finally honest. I sat back. My mother continued before she could stop herself. He chose you for everything. He took you to the store. He taught you the books. He asked your opinion. When he died, he left you control. He left the company to both of us. On paper, Brooke received 40%. You controlled the voting interest because she was 12. And when she turned 25, she sold half her shares back to the company because she wanted money for her business. You encouraged that. She asked me to buy them. You should have protected her from a bad decision. I was supposed to protect her from selling something she insisted she did not want. You always knew she would regret it. I stared at her. This was the system. Brooke made choices. I inherited responsibility for the outcome. Did you know about the affair? I asked. My mother looked down at her coffee. How long? She came to me in March. March. 8 months earlier. She was frightened. Of me, of hurting you. That concern did not stop her. She said she loved him. And you helped them. I told her to end it. Did you stop approving hotel charges? My mother said nothing. Did you stop paying her company? I was trying to make sure she had security. With my money. Family money. The store is not a family wallet. You would have everything without that money. That does not make stealing less real. Her eyes filled. Brooke has spent her life receiving scraps. She owns a business I helped create. She does not have a marriage. She could have found one that wasn't mine. She does not have children. Neither do I. My mother's expression changed. There it was. The place she knew would hurt. Brooke still can, she said quietly. I stopped breathing. She immediately looked away. What does that mean? Nothing. Did Ethan tell you about the reversal? Her eyes widened. Not enough. She knew something. He told me you two had stopped trying years ago. We did not. He said you cared more about the store. He had a vasectomy while I was trying to get pregnant. My mother went pale. What? For 7 years, he knew it could not happen. I didn't know. I believed her. The realization brought no relief. You knew enough to tell yourself Brooke could give him the family I wouldn't. I thought your marriage was over. He came home every night. People can live together after love ends. Did he tell you that before or after you helped him steal my business? My mother's tears began to fall. I was trying to correct what your father did. What did Dad do? He made Brooke feel unnecessary. She was a child when he died. And you were already his partner. I was his daughter. You knew how to become important to him. The accusation was so old that she no longer heard its cruelty. You think 13-year-old me manipulated Dad by working after school? You liked being needed. I was a child. You were never a child the way Brooke was. I looked at her for a long time. She meant it. She believed my competence had disqualified me from tenderness. Because I survived, I required less care. Because I worked, whatever I earned became unfair. Because Brooke appeared fragile, every harm she caused could be explained by need. Did you approve the sale I asked? I approved exploring it. Did you sign the transition plan? Ethan said it was temporary. Did you read the part giving him authority to negotiate the property sale? Her silence answered. I placed my phone on the table. The recording screen glowed. My mother stared at it. You recorded me. Yes. How could you? The outrage in her voice was almost impressive. You helped my husband remove me from my company, but recording your explanation is the betrayal. You are trying to humiliate this family. No, I'm trying to survive it. She reached across the table. I moved my hands into my lap. Claire, listen to me. Brooke made a terrible mistake. Ethan may have manipulated her. We can still fix this privately. Privately means I absorb the loss. It means we do not destroy one another. You already chose who could be destroyed. That is not true. When you learned Ethan was sleeping with Brooke, did you call me? Number. Did you tell her to leave my husband and return the money? I told her to think. Did you stop helping with the anniversary takeover? Number. Then you decided my pain was an acceptable cost. My mother's mouth trembled. You will regret speaking to me this way. I regret spending 39 years believing the right achievement would finally make you love me without conditions. That is unfair. Maybe. I stood. But for once you can carry the unfairness. She looked smaller than when she entered. For a second I wanted to sit down. Comforting her was muscle memory. I put on my coat instead. Claire. I stopped. If you expose Brooke at the anniversary, you will ruin her life. I turned back. She participated in ruining mine. You are stronger than she is. That has never made me less deserving of protection. I left the diner. Inside my pocket, the recording continued for 14 seconds after the door closed. All it captured was my mother crying. For once, I did not return to stop it. 11. My sister believed I had too much. Brooke came to the store the next afternoon. I was reviewing anniversary deliveries in the workshop barn when she entered. She wore no makeup. Her eyes were swollen. The leather jacket was gone. I need to talk to you. We've talked. You accused me in front of employees. I told them why my husband was circulating a video of me. You made everyone hate me. No, I described what you did. She closed the barn door. You don't know the whole story. I know enough. Ethan said your marriage had been over for years. He renewed our vows 2 years ago. He said that was for appearances. He slept beside me Wednesday night. He felt responsible for you. Was that before or after he kissed me good morning? Brooke flinched. He said you treated him like an employee. I treated him like a husband. You introduced him as your husband. What else should I have called him? She looked away. He spent his whole marriage in your shadow. The sentence sounded rehearsed. Did Ethan teach you that line in the hotel? You never listened to him. And you did? Yes. So he rewarded you with my company. I didn't ask for the company. You asked when you could move into my office. Her face changed. You heard that? I heard everything. The door was closed. Not completely. Fear entered her eyes. What else did you hear? The sale, the anniversary program, the reversal. She took one step back. Ethan told me you didn't want children. He had a vasectomy 7 years ago. I know. The word came out quietly. I stared at her. You knew, he told me a few months ago. And you still believed our infertility was my choice? He said you agreed to it. Did he say why I spent 7 years seeing doctors? He said you liked the sympathy. For several seconds I could not speak. Brooke's eyes filled. I didn't believe that part. You believed enough. I wanted to believe him. At least she was honest. Why? Her face hardened. Because I was tired of being second. To me, to you and everything. We were not competing. You never had to compete. What did I receive that you were denied? Dad, you were 12 when he died. And every memory of him is about you in the store. He loved you. He loved me like a child. He respected you. I absorbed that. It was the same wound wearing a different face. Brooke continued. You got his office, his truck, his customers, his trust. I also got his debt. No one remembers the debt. I do. You got Mom's expectations. That was not a gift. You got a marriage, a house, a business people respect. I had an apartment Mom hated and a company everyone called a hobby. I helped build that company. Exactly. Her voice rose. Everything good in my life has your fingerprints on it. Do you know what that feels like? Yes. She stopped. No, you don't. I know what it feels like to receive help from someone who uses it to define your place. I never defined your place. You did every time you rescued me. You asked me. I was supposed to ask my sister. And I was supposed to help. I did. You made it look easy. I was drowning while I did it. Brooke shook her head. You always say that after you win. I did not win. I survived. You survived into everything. The sentence was strange but revealing. To Brooke, my survival was possession. She walked toward me. Ethan saw me without making me feel grateful. He used company money to pay your business. That was his idea. You accepted it. I thought it would be my share. Your share of what? Dad's legacy. You sold your shares. I was 22. You threatened to sue me if I didn't buy them. Mom said you were taking advantage. Mom helped negotiate the price. Brooke's mouth tightened. Facts were less useful to her than the story she carried. You cannot keep every good thing just because you got there first, she said. There it was. Not love. Entitlement. The belief that my husband, company office, and father's memory were items on a shelf I had unfairly claimed. Did you know Ethan was putting medication in my tea? Her eyes moved. A tiny movement. Enough! What did you know? He said you couldn't sleep. What did you know? He said he gave you something mild. Without telling me, he said you refused help. And you accepted that. You were forgetting things. Because he was drugging me. I didn't know it was causing that. You watched him create the problem and then use the problem to justify replacing me. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I never wanted you dead. I didn't ask whether you wanted me dead. Nora Claire, I mean. Did you know he planned to make me drink something before I signed? He said tea calmed you. I stepped away from her. She began crying harder. I know how it sounds. It sounds like you knew enough to ask questions and chose not to. I loved him. You loved the life he promised you. He said we would have children. The reversal appointment was canceled Monday. Brooke stopped crying. What? I removed the cancellation notice from my folder and placed it on the workbench. She read it. Her face emptied. He wouldn't cancel without telling me. He did. Maybe he rescheduled. He didn't. You don't know that. I called the clinic's public scheduling line. There is no future appointment under the reference number. She stared at the paper. He said November. He told me he wanted children for 7 years. Brooke's lips parted. For the first time, she looked at Ethan's behavior without placing me between them. He loves me. I thought he loved me too. Her voice became small. What are you going to do at the anniversary? Tell the truth. You'll destroy Mom. Mom helped. She could lose the house. Then she should not have used stolen money to pay the mortgage. And me, you'll sell the studio. Brooke looked up sharply. You can't take my business. My company paid for it. I built it. Then you can build another without stealing. Her grief turned to anger. You think you're better than us. Number. I closed the folder. I think I finally understand you. She followed me toward the door. Claire, please. I stopped. For years, I thought you needed protection because you were younger. Then I thought you needed help because you were struggling. Now I understand that every time I saved you from a consequence, I taught you my life would always be available to cover the cost. I'm your sister. You remembered that whenever you needed something. She looked as though I had slapped her. Part of me wanted to apologize. I did not. Do not come to the store before Saturday, I said. You can't ban me from Dad's business. It is not Dad's business anymore. Her face hardened. Exactly. She walked out. 12. The chair. On Wednesday morning, I returned to my office. Brooke had removed family photographs from the shelves. In their place stood paint samples, design books, and a gold sign reading, Brooke Bennett, Creative Director. My father's leather chair had been moved to face the windows. A white chair sat behind the desk. Her chair. For several minutes, I stood in the doorway. Tasha appeared behind me. I told maintenance not to touch anything. Why? I thought you should see it. The office did not look destroyed. That would have been easier. It looked revised, as though I had been an old design choice someone had quietly updated. My nameplate sat inside the trash bin. I lifted it. Claire Bennett Cole, President. The brass was scratched. Tasha, find me a screwdriver. What are you doing? Taking my name off. She watched me unscrew the plate. You're not resigning. Number. I held the nameplate. I'm fixing it. That afternoon, I ordered a new one. Claire Bennett, owner. No Cole. No president. No title Ethan could treat as temporary. Owner. Then I moved Dad's chair back behind the desk. I did not throw away Brooke's sign. I placed it in a box with the anniversary invitations, developer renderings, and copied invoices. Not because I needed a courtroom exhibit, because I wanted to remember how erasure looked. It did not always arrive as violence. Sometimes it looked like a new chair. At noon, Ben found the transition document. 1 page. Simple language. It stated that due to health-related exhaustion, I voluntarily appointed Ethan interim manager for 6 months. During that time, he could negotiate strategic property opportunities with Diane's approval. A second page authorized Brooke to lead brand development. My signature line remained blank. They plan to put this in front of you Saturday, Ben said. After the tea? Most likely. Does this alone let them sell? No. But it creates confusion, especially if they combine it with your video and claim you wanted them to manage negotiations. I read the sentence describing my health. Recent memory lapses and emotional instability have made continued leadership difficult. Every word had been built from something Ethan caused. Change calendars, blocked calls, medication, provocation. He had not waited for me to collapse. He manufactured the evidence of collapse. What happens if I tear this up? I asked. They print another. If I publicly refuse, it loses most of its value. Good. Ben leaned against the desk. You understand that Saturday cannot become another dinner. It won't. How do you know? Because at dinner I wanted them to admit they hurt me. And now, I don't need their admission. What do you need? The employees to know their jobs were being traded, the customers to know the store was not failing. Ethan's company to see how he used emergency expenses, and my family to hear the word no without believing they can punish me into changing it. That is a long list. I've had a busy week. Ben did not smile. You should also know Ethan contacted a local reporter. Why? To cover your health announcement and the next generation of the business. I stared at him. He invited media to watch me disappear. Yes, good. Ben's eyebrows rose. Good. He wanted witnesses. I placed the transition document inside the box. He'll have them. 13, the night before the anniversary. I spent Friday night at the store. Not because I was afraid to leave. Because I wanted to remember the building before the confrontation changed it. The employees had transformed the garden center. Strings of warm lights hung from the rafters. Photographs from 40 years of Bennett home and garden lined the walls. Dad selling Christmas trees. Tasha at 22 holding a paint can. Me driving the first new delivery truck. Brooke as a child asleep beneath the service counter. Customers attending workshops. Employees carrying sandbags during a flood. The history was not neat. It belonged to more people than my family. Near midnight, I found Tasha arranging old photographs. You should be sleeping, I said. So should you. I own the place. I have keys. She handed me a photograph. Dad and I stood in front of the greenhouse during its first winter. I was 18, wearing a coat too large for me. On the back, Dad had written, "Claire kept the roof from falling while I found the ladder." I ran my thumb over the words. "He saw you," Tasha said. "My mother thinks he saw too much of me." Your mother confused love with inventory. I looked at her. What does that mean? She thinks if you received attention, Brooke lost the same amount. That's how she raised us. I know. Tasha sat on a folding table. My mother did the same with food. If my brother was hungry, I must have eaten too much. What happened? I moved out. He became a terrible adult. Despite myself, I laughed. Tasha smiled. You cannot spend your life making yourself smaller so someone else feels full. I looked around the garden center. What if I lose it? The store? Yes, you won't. What if I do? She considered the question. Then we find another building. That's your answer. You think Bennett Home and Garden is brick. It's partly brick. It is people who know where the extension cords are. People who answer the phone. People who remember which customer needs help loading bags. She pointed toward Dad's photograph. Tom did not build this alone. Neither did you. That is not an insult. It is why Ethan cannot take it by moving your chair. My eyes burned. Tasha, no crying. We have customers tomorrow. I wasn't going to. You were thinking about it. She climbed down. Come on. Where? The break room. Why? Ben brought sandwiches. He says you forget to eat when betrayed. That is not a medical diagnosis. He printed a chart. In the break room, Ben sat with 3 turkey sandwiches and a legal pad. I'm not signing anything, I said. The pad is for timing the presentation. Of course it is. He looked tired. We had argued twice that day about the anniversary. He still believed the safest decision was cancellation. I still believed canceling would reward Ethan's narrative. Neither of us pretended agreement. That made his presence matter more. We planned the evening in plain steps. Tasha would control beverages. No drink would reach me unless she opened it. Ben would remain near the sound system. Detective Owens and another officer would wait in an unmarked car across the service road. They would enter only if Ethan threatened me, attempted to drug me, or became physical. A private security guard would stand near the office corridor. I would reveal only what the room needed to understand: the affair, the diverted payments, the development offer, the transition plan. I would not turn my reproductive grief into entertainment. The vasectomy would remain private unless Ethan used our infertility against me. Do you believe he will? Ben asked. Yes. Why? Because it is the deepest wound he knows about. Tasha unwrapped her sandwich. What about Diane's recording? I'll use one section. Which? The part where she says she was correcting what Dad did. Ben nodded. That explains motive. I'm not proving a case. No, but audiences need a clear story. I looked at him. You've been spending too much time with event planners. I've spent too much time with you. The room went quiet. Ben glanced down at his notes. Tasha looked between us and took an unnecessarily loud bite of sandwich. I ignored her. At 1 in the morning, I walked alone through the store. I stopped in the paint aisle. Dad had taught me color mixing there. I stopped in the hardware section where Ethan first asked me to dinner. He had come in looking for bolts and left with my phone number. I stopped beside the front entrance where Brooke once sold lemonade during a summer sale. Every room contained love and betrayal. Neither canceled the other. That was difficult to accept. I wanted the past to become false because some people inside it had lied. But my joy had been real. My work was real. The person I had been while trusting them was not foolish. She simply did not know. At 2, I made my own tea in the break room. I watched the water boil, opened the package, held the mug in both hands. For a moment, I could not drink. My throat tightened. Then I took one sip. Nothing happened. That was the first small piece of my life I took back. 14. 40 years. The anniversary began at 5 on Saturday afternoon. By 6, the parking lot was full. Former employees returned with their children. Longtime customers brought photographs of home projects the store had helped them complete. Local vendors set up food tables near the greenhouse. A reporter from the neighborhood newspaper arrived with a photographer. Ethan wore a dark blue suit. Brooke wore a cream dress. My mother wore Dad's pearl necklace. I wore a simple green dress and the watch Dad gave me when I became store manager. At the entrance, volunteers handed guests the new anniversary program, not the version with my name removed. Tasha had quietly replaced it. The front page read, 40 years of Bennett Home and Garden, built by hands that stayed. Inside were photographs of employees, customers, and my father. No new generation. No Ethan. No Brooke as creative director. My mother discovered the change at 5:17. She found me near the service counter. What did you do? I printed the correct program. You embarrassed Brooke. The event has been open 17 minutes. She invited clients. To my store. Diane lowered her voice. Do not create a scene. Then you should stay away from the stage. Her eyes widened. I am your mother. And tonight you are a guest. She stared at me as though I had struck her. Then she walked away. Brooke remained near Ethan. They did not touch. Not openly. But their bodies angled toward each other without thought. Once you see intimacy, it appears everywhere. The private smiles. The shared glance. The way she fixed his tie without asking. Customers saw a brother-in-law and sister-in-law helping with an event. I saw months of practice. At 6:30, Ethan approached carrying a white ceramic mug. Chamomile, he said. You've been on your feet all day. My stomach tightened. Tasha stood 20 feet away watching. I have water. You barely slept. I slept well. Please don't make this another fight. He held out the mug. The old version of me would have accepted it to avoid attention. I smiled. Set it in my office. His eyes moved toward my face. You should drink it before the speech. I'll get it later. He stepped closer. Claire, today has already been stressful. For you, for everyone. Then drink it. His hand tightened around the handle. What? You look tense, it might help. He held my gaze, then laughed softly. Very funny. He placed the mug on a nearby table. Tasha appeared immediately. I'll take that. Ethan stopped her. I made it for my wife. And she declined. His voice hardened. It is tea. Tasha picked it up. Then you won't mind if it cools. She carried it toward the kitchen where Detective Owens had instructed us to store any drink prepared for me. Ethan watched it disappear. His jaw moved. He knew, perhaps not everything. Enough. At 7, the lights dimmed. Guests gathered near the stage in the garden center. The reporter stood near the front. Ethan walked to the microphone before I did. That was part of his plan. He believed the room still belonged to him. Good evening, he began. Thank you for joining us to celebrate 40 extraordinary years. Applause. He smiled with practiced warmth. Bennett Home and Garden began with one man, one truck, and a belief that a local business could become a family. He spoke beautifully. That was one of the reasons I married him. Ethan understood how people wanted stories to sound. He praised Dad. He praised employees. He praised customers. Then he turned toward me. And no one has carried that legacy more faithfully than my wife. Applause grew. I stood beside my mother and sister. Brooke's hands were clasped tightly. Ethan continued, but carrying something for too long has a cost. The room quieted. For the past year, Claire has faced serious exhaustion and health challenges. Those closest to her have watched her push beyond what is safe. I removed her hand. Tonight, Ethan said Claire has made the brave decision to take an extended leave. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Employees looked toward me. Roger shook his head. Tasha crossed her arms. Ethan held out one hand. Come up here, sweetheart. I walked onto the stage. He leaned close enough for only me to hear. Do not do this. You invited the reporter. His face remained smiling. Think about what happens after tonight. I have. He handed me the microphone. The room waited. I looked at the store, at Dad's photographs, at the employees who had trusted me enough to attend the workshop meeting, at the 7 who had not, at Brooke wearing the expression she used when she wanted others to protect her, at my mother already prepared to call whatever happened cruel, at Ethan who believed he could define my health, my marriage, and my future before passing me the microphone. I need to correct something I said. His smile disappeared. I am not taking a leave from Bennett Home and Garden. The crowd stirred. Ethan stepped closer. I moved away. I am tired, I continued. I have missed appointments. I have forgotten conversations. Last week, I lost my temper at a family dinner. A few employees lowered their eyes. Yes, the video you received was real. Ethan relaxed slightly. He thought I was surrendering. I shouted after learning that my husband had been sleeping with my sister for 8 months. The photograph appeared on the screen behind us. Ethan and Brooke in the bellwether lobby. His hand beneath Dad's jacket. Gasps moved through the garden center. Brooke covered her mouth. My mother whispered my name. Ethan reached toward the sound technician. Ben blocked his path. Leave it, I said. The reporter's photographer raised his camera. I continued. The hotel room was paid for using a Bennett Home and Garden card. A simple list appeared. 6 hotel charges, restaurants, gifts, No complicated diagrams, no legal language, just dates, amounts, and names. During the same period, more than $146,000 left this store through businesses connected to my sister and mother. Brooke began crying. Diane climbed onto the edge of the stage. This is misleading. I faced her. Which amount is wrong? You approved consulting work. I approved routine vendors. You created false descriptions. I was helping Brooke build something of her own, with money taken from employees whose jobs you plan to eliminate. The screen changed. A developer's rendering showed apartment buildings where the store and greenhouse stood. The words Westmere River Residences stretched across the image. Employees began talking loudly. Roger shouted, "You said there was no final plan!" Ethan took the microphone from my hand. "There is no final plan." I let him hold it. "Exploring a property offer is not theft," he said. "This store is sitting on land worth more than the business itself." The room quieted. He had said it publicly, not the store, the land. I stepped toward the microphone. "And what happens to the employees?" He hesitated. "That would be addressed during negotiations." "Does the offer keep the store open?" "This is not the place." "Does it?" Number. Anger spread through the crowd. Ethan raised his voice. "But this is exactly why leadership must change. Claire makes emotional decisions. She refuses to see the economic reality because she is attached to an old building. It is not your building to sell. I am trying to preserve what your family built. By closing it, by converting value before you destroy it." He pointed toward the screen. "This property could secure all of us." All of whom? He realized the mistake. I took the microphone back. The transition document Ethan planned for me to sign tonight gave him control over sale negotiations. My mother would approve the finances. Brooke would become creative director. The document appeared, only the first page, large enough to read. My unsigned line remained visible at the bottom. Brooke climbed onto the stage. "I did not write that. Your initials are beside the salary. I was told you agreed. Did you ask me? You don't answer when people call. Your boyfriend blocked numbers on my phone. That is not true." Tasha stepped forward from the crowd. "My number was blocked. I have the call records." Mia raised her voice. "Brooke told us Claire didn't want to be bothered." Another employee spoke. "Ethan changed the delivery meeting and said she forgot." A third, "He told us to send approvals to him." Ethan looked around. The story he built depended on people remaining separate. Now they were comparing notes. He raised the microphone. "Everyone here has seen Claire struggling." "Yes," I said. "Because my calendar was altered, calls were blocked, and medication was added to tea without my knowledge." The room became silent. Ethan's face changed. Not guilt, calculation. He turned to the crowd. "That accusation is insane." Dr. Morgan stood near the greenhouse entrance. I tested the tea. Ethan stared at her. She did not approach the stage. She did not deliver a speech. She simply said it contained your prescription sleep medication. The simplicity made it worse. My mother looked at Ethan. For the first time that evening, genuine fear entered her face. Brooke whispered, "You said it was mild." Her voice carried through the microphone. Every head turned. Ethan looked at her. "You knew I asked." Brooke's eyes widened. "I didn't know what it was." "But you knew he gave me something." "He said it helped you sleep." The crowd reacted. Brooke began shaking. "I didn't know he was using it to make you forget." Ethan grabbed her wrist. "Stop talking." She pulled away. A photographer captured the movement. Ethan realized and forced a smile. This has become a public spectacle created by a woman who is clearly unwell. He turned toward me. "Tell them about dinner. Tell them how you screamed. Tell them how you threw a glass." "I already did." "Tell them you accused your own mother of never loving you." My mother began crying. He was using every private wound at once. I held the microphone with both hands. "Yes," I shouted. My voice remained steady. "I had just learned my husband was sleeping with my sister. My mother helped them take money from my business, and all three planned to remove me." I looked across the room. Anger is not proof that a woman is incompetent. Sometimes anger is proof that she finally understands what has been done to her. Applause began near the workshop employees. Not loud. Not yet. Ethan laughed. "You sell mulch and paint Claire." His voice carried before he realized the microphone was still near him. The applause stopped. He continued, the control slipping from his face. "I have spent 15 years being introduced as Claire Bennett's husband. while you act like this neighborhood hardware store is some kind of kingdom." The room stared at him. "You use my contacts, my company relationships, my reputation, and still everything is Tom's legacy, Claire's store, Claire's decision." His resentment had waited years for permission. Now it poured out. "I handle disasters for a living. I manage crews across 3 states. And every holiday your mother seats me beside a cash register and asks whether I've seen the new display of birdseed." A few customers exchanged looks. My mother whispered, "Ethan, stop." But he could not. "You are sentimental about a building that should have been sold 5 years ago. Brooke understands growth. Diane understands family. You understand control." I looked at him. "My father sold birdseed." Ethan's mouth tightened. He carried bags to customers' cars until his knees failed. He repaired broken screen doors. He taught people how to fix toilets because they could not afford plumbers. I glanced at Dad's photograph. He never believed honest work made him small. The applause returned. Stronger. Employees stood. Ethan looked around and realized the room had left him. My mother climbed fully onto the stage. "Please," she said, "this has gone far enough." "No," I replied. "It went far enough when you decided Dad's love for me was a debt I owed Brooke." That is not what happened. Ben played the recording. My mother's voice filled the garden center. "I was trying to correct what your father did. He chose you for everything. Then, Brooke has spent her life receiving scraps. Then, you would have everything without that money." Ben stopped the audio. Diane's face crumpled. "You recorded a private conversation. I gave you 39 years of privacy. That does not give you the right to humiliate me." I did not create those words. My mother looked toward the crowd. Relatives avoided her eyes. Longtime employees stared openly. She whispered, "Your father would be ashamed." The sentence had controlled me for 11 years. I looked at his photograph. "Number." My voice remained quiet. "He would be heartbroken." I turned back to her. "But not because I told the truth." Brooke approached the microphone. "Claire, I know you hate me." "I don't." Her tears continued. "That's worse." "No. What is worse is that I loved you enough to keep rescuing you from consequences. I made a mistake. 8 months is not one mistake. I loved him. You loved being chosen over me." Her face tightened. "You always had everything." The crowd heard her. Brooke seemed to forget they were there. "You had Dad. You had the store. You had Ethan. You had the house. You cannot keep every good thing because you got there first." I looked at her. Around us, the people she wanted to impress were finally hearing the belief beneath her actions. "My husband was not an inheritance," I said. Silence. "My marriage was not your missing share. My office was not an apology Dad owed you. And this store was never a prize handed to me. It was work." Brooke wiped her face. "I worked too." "Then why did you need my name removed?" She had no answer. That was the question neither she nor my mother could survive. If this was fairness, why did it require secrecy? If they deserved a place, why did mine have to disappear? I faced the employees. "Bennett Home and Garden is not being sold." The room erupted. Applause. Relief. Someone shouted my name. Tasha covered her mouth. Roger hugged the man beside him. I raised one hand. "The diverted money will be recovered where possible. No employee will lose a job because my family mistook this store for something they could divide among themselves." Ethan moved toward the stairs. Detective Owens entered through the side door. He saw her. Then he turned toward me. "We need to talk privately." "Number. You do not understand what you have done." "I understand." He leaned close. "This ends our marriage." That ended at the hotel. His eyes narrowed. "There are things you have not told this room." I knew what he meant. The fertility treatments. The negative tests. The years of shame. He believed privacy was still a weapon he owned. "Then say them," I replied. He stared at me. I did not look away. He glanced toward the reporter, then toward Brooke. "Not here." He walked toward the office corridor. After several steps, he turned. "Claire." A command. I should have stayed on the stage. That had been the plan. Instead, I followed. That was my second mistake. 15. Behind the office door, Ethan entered my office. The security guard stood at the far end of the corridor, speaking to a customer who had become confused by the crowd. I remained near the doorway. "Say what you need to say." Ethan closed the door. I opened it again. "Leave it open. Stop performing. I'm not alone with you. You slept beside me for 15 years, and you drugged me. His expression twisted. I helped you sleep. You altered my medication without telling me. You were exhausted. You created the confusion you used against me. I did what was necessary. For what? To make you stop. Stop what? Acting like the store was more important than every person in your life. I stared at him. You could have divorced me and let you walk away with everything. The store was mine before we married. We built our life around it. You built your resentment around it. He closed the door again. This time I did not reopen it. My phone was recording in my pocket. Tasha knew where I was. The security guard stood nearby. Still, I felt the mistake. Ethan walked behind Dad's desk and touched the new nameplate. Claire Bennett, owner. You removed my name. I removed yours from mine. You think that makes you powerful? No, it makes the sign accurate. His eyes moved to the box on the floor. Brooke's nameplate lay on top. He kicked the box shut. You humiliated her. She helped you steal. She believed me. So did I. That stopped him briefly. I continued. You told both of us whatever made us easiest to manage. You were never easy to manage. Was that the problem? You made every decision. Because it was my company. You chose the store over children. My chest tightened. There it was. The wound. You told everyone we could not have a family because you were stressed, he continued. You treated every appointment like another project. You wanted sympathy more than a child. His words echoed Brooke's. The lie had been repeated so often it had become family doctrine. I removed the vasectomy file from the cabinet. Ethan's face changed. I placed the first page on the desk. April 17th, I said, 7 years ago. He looked down. You told me it was a hernia repair. He said nothing. I made soup. I changed the bandage. 3 months later, you told me we should start trying for a baby. You were never ready. That was not your decision to make alone. You would have turned a child into another obligation. I wanted that child. You wanted everything. My hand trembled. I let it. Strength did not require stillness. You watched me blame myself. I tried to tell you our life was enough. You knew why it wasn't happening. I knew a baby would trap us deeper in a life that already revolved around this store. You stayed. Because the land became valuable. The honesty escaped. He realized it. I felt the final piece settle. Not love. Not even resentment alone. Calculation. He had stayed because leaving early meant leaving without the property sale. I placed the reversal appointment and cancellation notice beside the old procedure record. You promised Brooke a child. That is none of your business. She made it my business when she entered my marriage. Ethan reached for the papers. I covered them with my hand. Why did you cancel? His jaw tightened. Move. Number. He grabbed my wrist. Pain shot up my arm. Let go. Give me the file. I raised my voice. The office door opened. Brooke stood there. Behind her, the security guard moved closer. She looked at Ethan's hand around my wrist. He released me. What did you cancel? She asked. Ethan turned. Go back outside. What did you cancel? I slid the notice toward her. Brooke read it. Her lips parted. You said the clinic moved the appointment. I was going to reschedule. There's no new date. Because this week became a disaster. Did you ever plan to reverse it? Ethan looked toward me. Do not discuss this with her. Brooke laughed once. The sound was small and broken. You told me Claire refused to have children. She did emotionally. What does that mean? It means she always chose the store. She did not choose your vasectomy. Brooke, this is not the time. She looked at the old paperwork. You had this done before she started trying. Ethan's face hardened. I said go outside. Brooke did not move. You lied to me. I protected the future. Whose? Everyone's. Were you ever going to marry me? Ethan glanced toward the open doorway. Customers and employees stood at the far end of the corridor. He lowered his voice. Not if you behave like this. Brooke recoiled. For the first time, she was hearing the tone he normally reserved for me. The correction, the warning, the promise of affection if she became easier. You said after the sale, she whispered. The sale is dead because both of you lost control. Both of us. Brooke and me. Not wife and mistress. Variables. He reached into the desk drawer and removed the transition document. Sign this, he said to me. I stared at him. Now, you have made the business impossible to manage. Sign the temporary authority and I will leave tonight. I won't speak to the press about your fertility history or your mental health episodes. I won't release the full dinner video. Brooke looked at him. You still want her to sign? We can salvage the property offer. For us, for the people who are not emotionally attached to a hardware store. You canceled the reversal. This is not about that. It is to me. He slammed the document onto the desk. Everything is about you. That is the problem with both sisters. Brooke stepped back. I almost felt sorry for her. Then I remembered the hotel, the tea, my office. Pity did not require rescue. I'm not signing, I said. Ethan opened a lower drawer. Inside was a second white mug and a small metal thermos. The same thermos he carried to work. He lifted it. You should have taken the tea. My pulse jumped. What is in that? Something to calm you down. Brooke stared. You said it was only a sleep aid. It is. He stepped toward me. The security guard entered. Sir, put that down. Ethan turned. This is a family matter. Put it down. Ethan's face flushed. He opened the thermos as if preparing to pour it into the mug. I did not know whether he wanted to destroy the contents, frighten me, or force me to drink. I only knew the guard moved first. He caught Ethan's wrist. The thermos fell against the desk, spilling liquid across the transition papers. Ethan swung his free arm. The guard pushed him against the wall. Brooke screamed. Detective Owens ran into the office with another officer. Within seconds, Ethan's hands were behind his back. The scene was not elegant. No perfect line ended it. No one remained composed. The desk shifted. Dad's chair struck the wall. Tea ran across the floor. Ethan shouted that everyone was overreacting. Brooke cried near the doorway. My wrist throbbed. I stood beside the ruined transition document and tried to breathe. Detective Owens picked up the thermos with gloved hands. Ethan looked at me. You did this. His voice contained genuine disbelief. In his mind, consequences remained actions other people performed against him. You had 15 years to walk away, I said. I gave you everything. You gave me flowers you ordered on subscription and tea I could not safely drink. His face changed. He knew the line would follow him. Not because it was clever, because it was true. The officers led him through the store. Guests moved aside. No one spoke. His co-workers from Great Lakes Property Response stood near the entrance. One removed his company badge and placed it in his pocket. Ethan looked toward Brooke. She did not follow. Then he looked at my mother. Diane covered her face. Finally, he looked at me. I held Dad's desk to steady myself. Ethan waited for me to break. I did not smile. I did not celebrate. I simply watched him leave the building he thought he had already converted into cash. The doors closed behind him. 16. After the applause, the anniversary did not resume. No one wanted music. The vendors quietly packed food. Customers hugged employees and left. The reporter asked whether I wanted to make a statement. No, I said. Will the store open Monday? Yes. That's all. That's all. Near midnight, only employees remained. Broken cups had been cleaned. The stage lights were off. The developer rendering had disappeared from the screen. I sat on a bag of potting soil near the greenhouse entrance. Tasha brought me a bottle of water. She opened it in front of me. The gesture nearly made me cry. You followed him into the office, she said. I know. We agreed you wouldn't. I know. That was stupid. I know. She sat beside me. Good. I didn't want to comfort you while you were still arguing. I drank the water. Across the store, Ben spoke with Roger and two managers. My mother sat alone near the service desk. Brooke stood outside beneath the awning. Neither had left. Diane approached first. Her face looked older. Where will Ethan go? I don't know. Will they keep him overnight? I don't know. You need to tell the police he never meant to hurt you. I stared at her. You watched him bring me a mug. I didn't know. You heard Brooke say she knew he gave me something. She was confused. Mom. My voice stopped her. For once, she heard the boundary before I explained it. You cannot remain here, I said. This is my husband's store. No, Dad died. The shares you inherited were purchased years ago. You are an employee who used company access to move money. Her mouth trembled. I'm your mother. That is why this hurts. Where am I supposed to go? Home. And tomorrow, you will receive a letter explaining what must be repaid and when your employment ends. She stared at me. You're firing me. Yes. After everything I gave this family. What did you give me, Mom? Her face hardened. I gave you life. And spent mine reminding me it should cost something. That is cruel. It is finished. Tears ran down her cheeks. I won't forgive you. For most of my life, that threat would have stopped me. That night it felt strangely small. You don't have to. She looked at me as though she had lost the final weapon she knew how to use. Then she left. Brooke remained outside. I found her sitting on a stack of bagged mulch beneath the awning. Rain had begun. She did not look up. Did you know he would bring the thermos? I asked. Number. Did you know he planned to pressure me into signing? Yes. The honesty hurt less than another lie would have. Did you know he would threaten me with the fertility records? Number. She wiped her face. I thought once you signed, he would move out. Mom would handle the money. I would run the design side. He said you would still receive part of the sale. He told me I was too unstable to understand the sale. I know. You accepted that. I told myself you needed rest. No, you told yourself whatever allowed you to take my chair. Brooke looked towards the parking lot. I hate that chair. Then why did you sit in it? Because you loved it. The answer was immediate. Honest. Ugly. She covered her face. I don't know what is wrong with me. I do. She looked at me. You believed receiving less love entitled you to take mine. Her shoulders shook. Did Dad love you more? The question came from a child, not the woman who slept with my husband. I don't know, I said. You must know. Dad trusted me with the store because I worked there. He loved you because you were his daughter. That isn't an answer. It's the only one I have. She looked down. I wanted him to choose me the way he chose you. Ethan, Dad. The rain grew harder. For 1 second, I saw the sister beneath everything. Then I remembered that seeing her did not require bringing her home. You need to leave, I said. Where? Mom's. She'll blame me. She'll protect you. Brooke laughed bitterly. That's not the same thing. Number. She stood. What happens to my studio? It will be audited. Property purchased with store money will be sold. I'll lose everything. You'll lose what was purchased with money you knew was not yours. I built the client list. Then rebuild. She looked at me. You make that sound easy. I know it isn't. Will you help me? Number. The word came calmly. Brooke flinched. I don't know how to do this alone. Neither did I. That's different. It always is when the consequence belongs to you. She walked toward her car. Before opening the door, she turned. I did love you. I know. Do you still love me? The question nearly broke me. Yes. Hope entered her face. I continued. But love is not permission to return to the place where you hurt me. Her hope disappeared. I watched her drive away. Then I went back inside. 17. What happened next? Ethan did not return home. Great Lakes Property Response fired him after reviewing the false emergency reports and business card charges. The police found messages discussing the medication, the staged memory lapses, and the plan to obtain my signature after the anniversary announcement. I did not spend months narrating every hearing or document. That was not where my healing happened. Ethan eventually admitted to misusing company funds, placing medication in my tea, and trying to gain control of Bennett Home and Garden through deception. His professional reputation collapsed. Our divorce took less time than our attempts to have a child. That fact stayed with me. Brooke sold the furniture, equipment, and lease connected to her staging studio. The remaining value returned to the store. She moved into a small apartment and found work at a flooring showroom 40 minutes away. For the first time in her adult life, she worked somewhere my name could not open a door. My mother sold her house. Some of the money repaid Bennett Home and Garden. She moved into a 2-bedroom apartment near Brooke. 3 relatives called me cruel. One said Dad would have wanted me to let Diane keep the house. I asked whether Dad would have wanted her to steal from the store. The calls stopped. I blocked numbers when they did not. The first weeks were not triumphant. I woke at night convinced I heard Ethan in the kitchen. I checked every mug before using it. I stopped drinking tea. Sometimes I forgot an appointment and immediately wondered whether the medication had permanently damaged me. Dr. Morgan told me recovery would take time. She also told me ordinary people forgot things. Not every missing word is evidence, she said. That became something I repeated to myself. Not every tired morning meant danger. Not every kindness hid a transaction. Not every person who disagreed planned to erase me. Healing required relearning ordinary life. 18. My sister at the pancake house. 6 months after the anniversary, Brooke asked to meet. I chose a pancake house near the interstate. She arrived early. Her hair was shorter. She wore a work polo with the flooring company's logo. Without expensive clothes and carefully arranged photographs, she looked younger. She also looked more honest. We ordered coffee. Neither of us drank it. I'm in counseling, she said. That's good. Mom says it's a waste of money. That means it may be helping. Brooke almost smiled. Then she looked down. I wrote you a letter. You could have mailed it. I wanted to know if you would read it. Not today. She nodded. I understand. We sat in silence. At another table, a father cut pancakes for 2 children. I watched him pour syrup. Brooke followed my eyes. I'm sorry about the vasectomy. The words tightened my throat. I know that sounds stupid, she continued. I'm sorry about everything. But that part I repeated what he said about you not wanting children. I used it to make myself feel less horrible. You knew it might not be true. Yes. Why didn't you ask me? Because if I heard your answer, I would have to stop. I appreciated the honesty. I hated the answer. Did you ever love Ethan? I asked. I thought I did. What do you think now? I loved how I felt when he complained about you. I looked at her. He made your strengths sound like flaws, she continued. Your work became obsession. Your confidence became control. Your marriage became neglect. Every time he described you that way, I felt better about myself. That is not love. Number. She folded her hands. I also liked taking something that belonged to you. The admission sat between us. She began crying but did not cover her face. I spent my life thinking you were standing in front of the life I should have had. I was not. I know. Do you? I'm trying to. The waitress refilled our coffee. Brooke waited until she left. Mom still says Dad created all of this by favoring you. What do you say? I tell her Dad died when I was 12. Everything after that was ours. It was the first time Brooke had separated our father's choices from her own. What do you want from me? I asked. Nothing. That's not true. She took a breath. I want to know whether there is any chance we could be sisters again. We are sisters. You know what I mean. Yes. I looked through the window at cars moving along the highway. I don't know. She nodded. I deserve that. This isn't about what you deserve. It is about what I can live with. I would never do it again. I believe you. Her eyes lifted. Then, believing you would not repeat the same betrayal does not mean I trust what you might do when you feel small again. She looked down. I'm working on that. Keep working. Can I write? You can write. Will you answer? I don't know. She swallowed. All right. We paid separately. Outside, she stopped beside my car. I sold Dad's jacket. I stared at her. Why? I couldn't wear it. I couldn't give it back. Looking at it made me sick. Anger flashed through me. Then grief. That was not yours to sell. I know. Where is it? A vintage store downtown. I closed my eyes. Which one? She gave me the address. I drove there after we separated. The jacket hung near the back beneath a handwritten tag. 1970s. Leather, $140. I bought it. At home, I cleaned it and placed it in a cedar box. Not in my office. Not on display. Some things did not need to remain visible to remain important. 19. The store after my family left. Bennett Home and Garden opened the Monday after the anniversary. All 31 employees returned, even the 7 who missed the workshop meeting. 1 apologized. 2 avoided me for several days. I did not demand loyalty performances. They had families, bills, and incomplete information. Ethan had exploited that. Punishing them would have continued the same pattern. We changed every password, removed family approval privileges, created a 3-person review process for major expenses. No one, including me, could move large amounts without another manager seeing it. Then I promoted Tasha to operating partner. She refused for 4 days. I don't want to sit in meetings, she said. You already run the meetings? I don't want a title. You yelled at a lumber supplier until he replaced $14,000 of damaged inventory. He deserved it. You're becoming a partner. I'm too old. You're 48. Exactly. Sign. She stared at the agreement. Does this mean I have to be nice to customers? Number. Fine. We also created a profit-sharing plan for employees who stayed longer than 3 years. Dad had never done that. Neither had I. For a long time, I believed protecting his legacy meant preserving every decision he made. Then I understood that a living legacy had to change. Otherwise, it became a museum. The developer returned with a higher offer. I declined again. But I sold a small unused section of the back acreage to a community housing nonprofit. The money repaired the greenhouse, replaced our trucks, and funded employee benefits. Ethan would have called that sentimental. He believed value existed only when converted into personal gain. I began measuring it differently. Value was Roger's daughter receiving health insurance. Value was Mia finishing community college without changing shifts. Value was Tasha owning part of the building she had protected. Value was an elderly customer finding someone willing to explain a faucet repair without making him feel stupid. We started free Saturday workshops for single parents and first-time homeowners. Attendance was small at first. Then a local video went viral. Not Brooke's polished content. A shaky clip of Tasha teaching 6 women how to use power drills. In the video, she shouted, "Stop apologizing to the wood, it cannot hear you." The comments loved her. She pretended to hate the attention. 20. My name. 1 year after the hotel, we held the 41st anniversary. No stage, no strategic announcement, no reporter. We set folding tables in the garden center and served barbecue from a local restaurant. Employees brought their families. A new sign hung above the entrance, Bennett Home and Garden, rooted here since 1986. Below it, a smaller plaque listed the employee partners. My name appeared first. Tasha's appeared second. For the first time, that did not feel like losing something. Late in the afternoon, a woman approached with her 8-year-old daughter. "I remember your father," she said. "He helped me repair my porch railing when I bought my first house." The girl looked at my name tag. "Are you Mrs. Cole?" I glanced down. The tag read, "Claire Bennett." "No," I said, "just Claire." She nodded. "Are you the boss?" "I'm one of them." Tasha shouted from the register. "She's the boss when something catches fire." "Nothing is on fire," I called back. "Yet." The girl laughed. After the event, the store became quiet. I walked through the aisles, turning off lights. Near the service counter, I found a mug. White ceramic. Someone had left tea inside. For 1 second, my body reacted before my mind did. My shoulders tightened. My stomach turned. Then I smelled peppermint. Tasha appeared with a trash bag. "That's mine." "You abandoned it." "I was helping a customer." "You complain when employees leave drinks near the register." "I'm an owner now. I have privileges." I picked up the mug. "Do you want it?" "It's cold." I carried it to the sink and poured it out. Then I filled the kettle. Tasha watched. "You making another?" "Yes." "For me, number. Being an owner has changed you." I opened a new tea packet, poured the water, waited. Nothing dramatic happened. No revelation. No one entered with bad news. The kettle clicked as it cooled. I lifted the mug and drank. For months, I thought taking my life back would feel like standing on a stage while everyone who hurt me watched. That mattered. I will not pretend it did not. There was satisfaction in watching Ethan's performance collapse. There was justice in refusing to let my mother rename theft as fairness. There was dignity in telling Brooke that love did not entitle her to return. But the deepest part of reclaiming my life happened afterward. It happened when I stopped checking whether my mother had called. When I made a decision without imagining Ethan correcting me. When I forgot an appointment and simply rescheduled it. When I trusted Tasha to disagree. When I allowed Brooke's apology to exist without turning it into my obligation. When I drank tea because I wanted tea. I had spent years believing family meant the people who knew your history. Now I believe family is the people who do not use that history as a weapon. Legacy is not a building someone inherits. It is the standard you refuse to lower even after the people closest to you teach you how low they are willing to go. Self-worth is not proven by being chosen by a husband, preferred by a parent, or envied by a sister. And respect that must be purchased with silence is not respect. My husband tried to turn my exhaustion into evidence that I should disappear. My mother treated my strength as proof that I needed less love. My sister believed the things I survived had become available for her to take. They all made the same mistake. They believed my place in the world depended on their willingness to recognize it. It never did. So tell me this. If you discovered your husband was secretly planning to replace you with your own sister, not only in your marriage, but inside the family business you had spent your life protecting, would you expose everything publicly? Would you walk away and rebuild somewhere else? Or would you stand in the room where they tried to erase you and say your own name one final time? Whatever your answer is, remember this. You do not have to become smaller to prove that you love your family. You do not have to remain silent to protect people who never protected you. And being strong enough to survive someone's betrayal does not mean they were entitled to betray you.